Let's talk about hair. It's not your average conversation. It's not your average conversation about hair. Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to Main Talk Conversations about Hair. Y'all probably wonder, why is her voice so calm today? So on the last episode of Main Talk, somebody said that I was talking too loud, but I normally am just exuberant and I talk with so much passion. So tonight I am going to try to use this tone that won't be so loud because I have this mic that's kind of sitting like right here to the right of me. So if you feel like that my tone is abnormal, send me a message and then I'll change back to the regular way I used to talk. But I'm Deshaun Buller, host of Main Talk, and today we're going to have such an interesting conversation. Now, I know last week, guys, I told you guys that we were going to be talking with women who decided to go completely bald, but we decided to move that show a couple weeks out due to our guest who had some unforeseen circumstances that could not join us on this evening. So we decided to go in another direction, and oh, what a direction we are going in, because for over the past couple of weeks, the past month, I have been bombarded by friends and other women who are now in their 50s and are asking the question like, why is my hair coming out? Why is my hair so thin? What is happening? And so I decided to take this opportunity to be the hair coach, to talk to you guys individually, to bring some friends on, some women who have had that. Somebody said, please, do you know, hello. Well, let me see, what is Tanya saying? Let's see, Tanya. Tanya, would you say, hello, please do you? That's what I know and love. Right, Tanya, be me. But I know I have this mic right here in front of me. So I am trying to adjust my tone with this flawless mic that is at my right. So if I need to adjust my tone, I'm going to try to see how I am going to adjust my tone. But let's get back to this hair loss. Many women in their 50s, or even as my guest who is sharing the platform with me on today would say, even women in their 30s and their 40s, they experience hair loss. But for some reason in your 50s is when you really begin to notice. And I don't know if it's when you're in your 50s, you're just kind of like, you want a different look. You know how it is when you turn 50. It's like this major turning point in your life. You're concerned about your look. You're concerned about your hair. You're concerned about your skin. You're concerned about everything. But so many women have reached out to me via DM, close friends, relatives, everybody, classmates asking about their hair. So I wanted to show this text that I got. And I want to show you this. Let me see. Let me go here. Show you this. Let me share my screen here. So this is a text message that I got from one of my friends who sent me this picture and said, I'm using the Nuratress products. Look at all the hair that is coming out. So my life is bombarded daily with people who are asking questions about their hair coming out. And so do you guys have the same question? Like, what is going on with my hair after the age of 50? Why is my hair falling out? Normally, we have doctors on to talk about this. We had a dermatologist on a few weeks ago, Dr. Hope Mitchell, who shed some light on a lot of things that can happen. But when you're over 50, sometimes we are transitioning, we're menopausal, we're this, we're that. So today we want to go over some of the top 5 reasons why women in their 50s lose their hair. So let me start off, because I teach cosmetologists this all the time. And I was like, let me take this time to share with the viewers of Main Talk. So let's talk about the top 5 reasons why women over the 50, why women, listen to me, see, trying to talk like somebody else. That's right, Tanya, trying to talk like somebody else. Let me just be myself. Let's talk about the top 5 reasons why women lose their hair in their 50s. So let's start off with number 1. Number 1, we wear a lot of wigs, weaves, and extensions. We go to the salon. By the time we first start losing our hair, the first thing we do is we talk to our stylist, and then our stylist would say, let's put a weave on it. Julia said, I lose that much. I guess, Julia, you're talking about the picture. You lose that much each week and you're 46. Julia, we're going to have this conversation. But I think by the time I bring in my next guest in a minute, we're going to disclose some of the things that we as women over 40 should be doing as it relates to our hair. So let me go back to mechanical damage. By the time we talk to our stylist about our hair falling out, our stylist is going to recommend some type of what we call protective style, some type of weave, some type of wig, some type of faux lock, some type of uh, uh, what do you call it, crochet or something like that. But I will tell you guys, that's kind of like the wrong thing to do, because if you don't address the reason why your hair is falling out, it's not going to stop. Let me say that over again. If you don't address why your hair is falling out, it is not going to stop by you putting a weave in it or putting in some type of protective styles. Guys, we have to get back to the basics of what is going on with our hair. So that's number one. If you guys have some pen and papers, you guys, tonight is the night to write this stuff down. We'll bring in some OBGYNs on the show later on to really kind of talk about it. But tonight we're going to talk about some of the things that we should look at. So number one, we talked about wigs, weaves, and extensions. By the time you guys get to me, you guys are saying you've been wearing weaves and wigs for 7 years, for 10 years, for 14 years, for 20 years. That is too long, guys. If you wear weave in your hair for, let's say, 3 months, then when you take the weave out, you need to wear your own hair for 3 months. If you're going to wear any type of protective style for however long, you need to wear your own hair for the same length of time. Why, guys? Because it's bad scalp care. If you guys remember back in the day when we would get our hair shampooed every week, every 2 weeks, we really didn't have these problems. But as we go into these weaves and we go into these wigs, we are now experiencing what we call bad scalp care. We're not shampooing our hair. And y'all know, y'all will spend $300, $400, $500, or even up to $1,000 by the time you spend money for the service and the hair, and you will not take it out for like 6 months. It sounds crazy, but I've seen it. Women have gone over 6 months without properly shampooing their hair. So the number one reason is wigs, weaves, and extensions. And if that is you, it is time for you to visit your salon professional or find you another salon professional and get it taken out. Number two, change in hormones. This is the big one. Our hormones are changing. It is normal for you to look at your hair in the mirror and that your hair changes as we get older. It's normal, but the question is, what do we do? How do we go about making our hair strong again? So, one of my next guests, she's actually like, I call her my little sister. We went to college together. We're in the same, she's my soror, and she is a client of Neurotress and a client of Neurotress Salon and Hair Clinic. And Tracy has like crazy big hair her whole life. She's had all of this hair. She had more hair for about 12 people. But now even she herself has gone through some issues. So we're going to bring her in and let's have this conversation. Tracy. Hey, Tracy.
Hey, how are you?
How are you? So let's talk about this, Tracy. So when I posted this post today and I said that we were going to be talking about why women over the age of 50 are losing their hair, or look up all of a sudden it's like my hair is falling out, you posted what?
Hormones.
And share your story. Why did you come in and comment hormones?
So I just turned 50, and probably about age maybe 46, 47, 8, I started to notice a change in my hair. As you said, my hair has just always been super thick, super long, but I started noticing it was dry. I started noticing that it was trying to get thin. And I was like, what's going on with my hair? And so at the time, I said, well, also I noticed acne. I was getting a lot of adult acne. So I was like, what is going on? Right. So
because you went to the dermatologist for that, right?
Went to the dermatologist, and he said, I can treat the external, but I can't treat this internal. Something is going on internally to cause this adult acne. Okay. So I went to my primary care physician, right? Let me fast forward back for a second. I said, well, let me do a detox. So an online personality said, hey, if you are experiencing acne issues, issues with your hair, all of these things, get your hormones checked.
Mhm, mhm.
And I was like, what is she talking about? I had no clue what she was talking about. I went to my primary care physician and said, hey, I want to get my hormones checked. And you know what she told me?
What?
You don't need to get your hormones checked. They're good.
So this is your primary care physician?
This is my primary care that I've had for years.
Mhm, mhm.
And I said, well, I'm dealing with all these issues. And she says, oh, it's probably stress. You're getting older. Fast forward a whole year, I was still dealing with the same issues, except now they're getting worse.
Now, so let me stop you now. In the middle of all this, let's just be transparent. You using Neurotrust, you coming to salon, you getting your hair done, everything was going fine. You doing all of that, and we're thinking like, okay, so we don't know, we doing everything on our side, but yet you're still having these problems.
Still having these problems, right? I just the texture of my hair, it just didn't feel right? No matter how many steam hydration treatments, no matter what I did, it's still something wasn't right. Okay.
No matter how many vitamins you were taking, no matter how many products you were using, it was still not right.
Right. So this is a whole year. Went back to the doctor and said, hey, something is not quite right. Can you check my hormones, right? Because I'm reading now, I'm researching, and something is off. Oh, you don't need, everything is fine. Fast forward, I went to my OBGYN and got my annual PAP and mentioned to her that, hey, you know what? These things are going on. I think I need to get my hormones checked. And she said, you absolutely do. And she checked my levels, and she checked testosterone, estrogen. She checked thyroid, a whole battery of tests, vitamin D. And guess what?
And so what came back?
My testosterone levels were 14.
Okay, and so what is the normal? So guys, listen to this. Let's talk about this testosterone level. So your testosterone levels are 14, and what did your doctor say was the normal level?
The normal level is 150 to 250.
Shut the front freaking door.
14.
And you're 14.
Vitamin D levels were 7.
And the normal levels are?
I forgot what. I think she said for African Americans, if we can get into the 30s,
like 36, 30,
we're good, right? Because we as African Americans, our vitamin D levels are normally low. So she said if we could get into the 30s, we're good. Mine were 7, to the point where when she read my numbers, she looked at me and said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." She says, "You're not tired?" And I said, "Yeah." She says, no, like extremely tired. And I said, I'm tired, but I'm functional, right? We as women have a tendency of functioning when it's not normal, but we have a tendency of thinking it's normal, right? Oh, I'm just tired because I got a lot going on. No, my vitamin D levels were 7.
Wow.
When she checked my thyroid wasn't low, it wasn't high, it wasn't optimal. And so she says a lot of times when we get our blood work done in our primary care physician, they say everything is normal. She says, but it wasn't optimal.
Correct. So when I listen to you, the two major things that I'm aware of, especially as a hair wellness expert, as a hair loss, because you and I talk all the time about this, the testosterone levels, which is huge. That was huge. And then the vitamin D levels. Very, very, very huge. And so the reason why I really wanted to have this conversation about the hormones, because like you come and get your hair done. You're Miss DIY. You're the one who will tear down the toilet stool, build it back up. But when it comes to electrician, things that require a professional, you know where to stop. But most women, most of us guys, we try to just treat it at home ourselves. We feel like that our hair is falling out, as Julie just said, that the dermatologist, offer her only Rogaine. One of the things we have to do is that when we lose our hair, Julie, if you're losing the amount of hair that I show each week, this is a telltale sign for you to push, right, Tracy? Push your doctor, say, give me my hormone levels. You're 46 years old, but we also know that things happen. So if you are, we talked about, and Tracy, you stay on with me through this. So we talked about number one, we talked about weaves and extensions. Number two, changes in your hormone. Let's talk about perimenopause. You know, so you
Absolutely.
said you're 46, Julie. Your cycle, what is perimenopause? When your cycle becomes irregular, but haven't stopped. Most women hit this stage around 47.
And what's so crazy about this, Deshawn, my mother went through menopause at 37, right? So there are women who are in their 30s who are perimenopausal, right?
Correct.
Who they are thinking that, you know, what is wrong with me? But that is a fact that could happen in your 30s. And all of these things that we're talking about at the age of 50 could very well much happen at the age of 30.
Exactly, because I went into menopause actually in my 20s. I was diagnosed with premature ovarian failure. And so, which is one of the reasons why I have such a passion for this subject and wanted to move into full practice as it relates to helping women with hair thinning, hair loss, thinning edges, and all of that. So, we're talking about number two, guys. We're talking about hormonal perimenopause. That is a change of hormones. What about regular menopause? This is when your final menstrual period has stopped. You will know that you are in full menopause when you have gone without one for a whole year. So if you're still spotting, like I talked to someone this weekend, they was like, I'm still spotting kind of here and there, then that means you're in perimenopause, right? You're not in full menopause. And then postmenopause actually means that once you have stopped having a cycle for a whole year, and again, we're going to get some doctors on here to talk about it, but once you have had, you finish your cycle for a whole year from that period, like me now, I don't know, Tracy, are you done?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
I'm done, but I've been done for a minute. So I've been postmenopause literally for years, right? Because it's been years since I've had a cycle. So guys, just talking about number one, those wigs and those weaves, those extensions. Like Tracy, you have like I told you, your hair is so cute, but you were just at the salon with your own hair about a couple weeks ago. And I remember.
Yeah. So for me, you know, I wear protective styles, but I am scared to wear a protective style to the point of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 weeks. Because guess what? I want my hair and I value my hair. I value my scalp. So 6 weeks, I'll take it out. I go into the salon and I get my steam hydration. I get my ends, trimmed, because I need the professional to take a look at my hair to say, you know what, Tracy, something is going on. Let's address it, because if I leave it in that long, then I can't see what's going on underneath this.
Correct. It's very important. But I know you were asking me about getting a scalp analysis. And what did I say? No, Tracy, because we knew the hormone things. And I asked you about making sure, you said you had an appointment that was coming up to look at your hormone levels again, because did you say they were kind of imbalanced or something like that?
Right. So I addressed my hormones with my OBGYN, and then COVID hit. Okay. So when COVID hit, it threw everything off. And so, of course, it was almost like I was starting over because I couldn't get to her for her to evaluate my levels. So now I'm, back on the regimen, and I could tell the difference in my hair because once again, that testosterone is important for hair.
And estrogen too, guys.
Yes,
estrogen is very, very important, but it's the balance of it all. And, right. and when we start losing our hair, one of the things I want to say, I always say real true hair restoration and treatment requires a system approach, not a one product solution. And a lot of times we just want one product, like what one product is going to get my hair to grow back, what one product. And we always say it's a systematic approach. We need to go through different things. If your hair is shedding, sometimes you may just need a protein treatment, okay, just to stop the shedding. But sometimes, depending on what's going on, and Julie, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the link to the show. I'm going to see if I can grab it. And I want you to come on so that we can talk. But let me go through this first. So don't go anywhere, because I want you to come on so that we can talk for a minute. But as we talk about some of the causes of us losing our hair shedding after the age of 50, number 3 is prescription medications, drug-induced Hair loss. You know, for me, I'm on thyroid medication. I've been on thyroid medications for years. But for some of us, as we get older, like Tracy, you said you went to go check your thyroid and things like that, and or vitamin D. Sometimes we can be on all types of medications that can cause our hair to fall out. And when we have medications can lead to two different types of hair loss. We call it telogen effluvium and anagen effluvium. And this is my area so straight up. So I'm gonna stick with the telogen effluvium. Tracy, you and I were having a conversation on the phone today, and you were just like, okay, that's the way to break down. So one of the things I want to let everybody know, telogen effluvium is just a type of alopecia that is temporary. When you are diagnosed with alopecia and your doctor says, oh, you have alopecia, then it doesn't mean that it's a death sentence. It just simply means alopecia means that hair is no longer in an area where hair normally grows. So from this point, what we normally do at our clinic, we look at, okay, is it permanent or is it temporary? And that's when we go through a battery of tests, right? So in Tracy's case, Tracy was like, it was hormonal because she was doing everything I was telling her to do, but she was still concerned. Right. And she pressed her doctor, talked to her general practitioner, then she talked with her OBGYN. And I want to kind of stay there for a second, Tracy, because a lot of us will go strictly to a dermatologist, and the dermatologist is good, but we're talking about overall health and wellness. Over 50, so many things are changing, right? Right. Now you're either perimenopause or you're menopause or you're postmenopause. Now you are on different medications. You can be stressed out, which is one of the bullets I'll talk about. You got kids, your body's changing. So many things are going on, but one of the things we have to do is just really hone in on what is going on. So telogen effluvium, which is a temporary form of hair loss where your hair would grow back. It usually appears within 2 to 4 months after taking your medication. So for those who have what we call drug-induced hair loss due to medication, it usually shows up 2 to 4 months after taking the medication. Why does this happen? Is because your hair goes into what we call a resting phase. I'm not going to spend this whole night because it's kind of, techie. And I really do want to have a doctor on to kind of go into this, but this is what I really want to talk about. Let's talk about some of the drugs that can cause hair loss. Tracy, acne medications, including vitamin A, some antibiotics and antifungal drugs, some antidepressants, birth control pills. Now, we know for some women over 50, some of you guys may be on birth control pills. Like Tracy said, I'm still fluent, right? Right. A lot of us are not. Anti-clotting drugs, cholesterol-lowering drugs, drugs that suppress the immune system, drugs that treat breast cancer and other type of cancers, epilepsy drugs. This is a big one. High blood pressure medicine. Let me just stay right here. A lot of women, especially in our age group, suffer from high blood pressure. And so one of the things that I want to say is that as soon as your hair starts falling out, like Tracy said with her doctor, let's talk to your doctor about it. Please just let them know, because they are the ones who know what type of medications you're on. They're the ones who are prescribing the medication, and they can look at what you're on and kind of help and guide you on what you need to do. Because if you're on high blood pressure medication, you're wearing wigs, in menopause, you got a whole bunch of stuff going on. And so we really got to get to the main cause of why you are losing or why your hair is thinning. Lastly, we have non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, Parkinson's disease drugs, steroids. Here we go. Thyroid medication and weight loss drugs. Tracy, you were I wish I need to go in here and kind of pull it up, your picture. You were a what do you call, not a bodybuilder, but
figure competitor. Yeah, it was figure competitor for years, right? Years and years and years. And for me, I was natural. So I didn't have to deal with any of the steroids or whatever, but my hair was healthy. I mean, it was very healthy because I took care of it. I was always in the salon, and I wore wigs and weaves when I competed. But as soon as that show was over, I was right back in the salon, making sure that my hair was hydrated and, everything was taken care of by a professional, because there's only so much that I can do at home, right? Even
Right.
as a DIY, that's not my job. I need to
Mhm.
stay in my lane and give that over to the professionals.
That's very, very important, because number four, as we talk about you being a fitness competitor, the number four reason we're talking about the top 5 causes why our hair is thinning over the age of 50 is diet, lack of nutrition, right? Weight loss surgery, crash dieting. Now we know, Tracy, you would come in one day, and the next day I would see you, I would be like, girl, you so little. But the difference is you had a nutritionist.
I had a nutritionist. And so I was, once again, I didn't do anything outside of conferring with a professional.
Right.
So she was able to guide me along the way of what I needed to do, as far
Right.
as my nutrition was concerned, as far as my cardio was concerned, as far as, my weight training. I was under the guide of a professional, just like my hair was under the guide of a professional.
Right. Right. And that's key, because some of us crash diet. Like for me, I was on Weight Watchers, right? And I love Weight Watchers. I mean, I love. I had got like I looked like a bobblehead at one point, but I didn't have a nutritionist. But I was very conscious about making sure that I had protein. That was something I learned from you, because you would always come in, you would have that protein. But a lot of people are vegan now. So for those who are vegan, you have to think about that as well. You have to make sure you are getting the protein some kind of way. I know one of the things you used to do, Tracy, are those protein shakes.
Right.
The protein shakes.
Because it was quick, it was on the go. You always want to get your whole foods in, right? Your protein, your vegetable, your carb. You always want to have something, because it's about the chewing aspect of your food versus drinking it. But if you're on the go, right, it's about chewing. That the digestiveness of chewing your food, it's more powerful than drinking it. But if you're on the go and you need to get something in, get a protein shake that is low sugar, low carbs, but has the protein in it, until you can get to that whole food aspect of the protein and the vegetables.
Okay, guys, so we're talking tonight. I see all y'all comments are coming in. We're going to get to them today. So it's crazy that I decided to do this show at the last minute, because my friends have been hitting me up. Tanita on here. Tanita knows Sharon came all the way down this weekend from North Carolina to come and see the hair coach about her hair. Tanya, the picture, for those who came in late, let me share again my screen and show you a photo that a friend of mine sent me about her hair, and she's taking Nuratress. So she sent me this saying, hey, my hair is coming out. What is going on? I'm using the product. So let me say this about this picture that's here. When I talked with her, she stated that she had been wearing her hair in cornrows and braids for quite some time. So let me say this. If you wear some type of protective styles, if you're wearing cornrows, if you're wearing your hair pulled back for an extended period of time, let's say 2 weeks, if your hair is up in a form where you can't really comb through it, it is normal, guys, for you to take out your hair and you to see this amount of hair. Yes. Why? Because hair sheds 80 to 100 hairs a day. Just because you don't comb your hair does not mean your hair is not shedding. It is shedding, but it is not, you don't see it falling because you're not combing it. So right. If you have your hair in a protective style, kind of like how Tracy is wearing her hair, or however you are, whatever protective style, like Tanita, like I saw you online today, if you wear your hair in some type of protective styles for 2-3 months, when you take your hair down, you will see this amount of hair shedding, but that's normal because you have to count the number of days. You have to count 80 to 100 hairs times 90 days times 60 days. So what I told her was, my friend, what I told her was, I said, this is normal. So don't fret. If it was coming out like this every day, then that would be a problem. Now, Julie, if you are still on, Julie, I put a link in the comments that says join the show. If you are still on, I want you to click the link and I want you to come on because I want to talk to you personally about what is going on with your hair. Okay. So we talked about lack of nutrition. We're talking about the top 5 reasons, guys, why your hair may be falling out over the age of 50. But just understand that also too much vitamin A can cause your hair to fall out. In our hair vitamins, we have about 10,000 IUs of vitamin A. Just know, guys, that is the max. I talk with a lot of you guys, and some of you guys are, and Tracy, you know, because you supplement, you know, you have, you know, all of that. But some of us are taking Nurtress hair vitamin. Then I'm still taking my one a day. Then I'm still doing this. We can't just do and take anything. There has to be a rhyme and reason. And the first place you do need to go, like Tracy said, is you need to go talk to your primary care physician. If they don't push it and pull the hormonal panel, then you need to talk to your OBGYN. Somebody needs to pull it. But after you go through all of these checks and balances, and why do I say this? I understand that we live in a time, Tracy, that everybody don't have insurance. So
Right.
some of us are out here walking around and don't have insurance, and we're self-diagnosing at home. Julie, I see you came in, so just hold on. So some of us are just self-diagnosing at home because we don't have the insurance to go to the doctor. But it's really important to go check it out because also a sign of hair loss is an illness. I've talked to a young lady who finally went to the doctor and then she was diagnosed with lupus.
Yes.
You know?
Right. Yeah. And another thing, when I was researching and talking to my OBGYN and talking about the hormones and the levels, and once I found out what was wrong with my levels, I was like, how do I resolve it? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that that's one of this 5, but how do I resolve it? And it's something that, we're aging, so we'll never get our estrogen levels back to where they were. We will never
Right.
get our testosterone levels back to where they were. So at that point, we have to decide what course of action are we going to take so that we can get our levels to the point where our hair is thriving again, right?
Right.
Where we can function again, where we're not depressed, because your hormone levels will impact your life, not just your hair, but your life in general. And another thing that I learned is that your hormone levels also can affect your blood pressure.
Yes.
It also can affect, all of that plays together. So I think it's important, like you said, if your doctor won't do it, try to find someone who will pull your levels to see where you are, because some people will be shocked to know, especially your vitamin D. Vitamin D levels that are low, as you talked about it, right? You were talking about how tired you were. You was like,
I was coming home every day. I know y'all see me out on the gram on Facebook, like I'm doing this and that. A lot of times I'm posting days after. I literally was going to work and coming home, getting in the bed, like under the covers. And no one ever knew that. But by the time I went to my primary care physician at the beginning of this year, she was like, dude, your vitamin D is so low that she put me on 100,000 IUs a week.
Absolutely.
100,000 a week for the next 6 months.
Right.
And I was like,
I was doing 10,000 a day to get my levels up. And when I went back to get my levels checked, they went from 7 or 14 to 75.
Wow.
And she was like, she says, what a huge difference. She says, you did what I told you to do, right? We'll hear what the doctor is telling us, but we won't do what they tell us to do. But we're expecting something different. And we're not going to get it if we aren't vigilant, and taking what they tell us to take.
Right. So I see a lot of comments coming in. Julie, we're about to get to you. Let me finish up my number 5, and then we're going to go to these questions. You know what I am going to do is I'm going to bring a GYN on because, we had a dermatologist on before, but I really want to bring a primary care physician and a GYN on to further this conversation, because I'm the hair coach. And one of the things that we do at our clinic is we use scope, we use products to go in to treat. But if we don't get it resolved, then what we do is we do want to turn you over to your primary care physician, your OBGYN, dermatologist, because together we are trying to resolve this. But the biggest thing to understand is that number one, guys, is that it's normal that when you turn 50 or 40 plus, your hair starts changing. A lot of times it's happening when we're like 42, 43, 45, and it's so subtle, right, Tracy? It's so
It's
subtle.
subtle.
It's just subtle. And then we just throw that weave on it, and we just get so used to that weave for the next 5 years. And then by the time you 50, 51, 52, you 7 years later with your weave out, and you looking like, I got, like, what's going on here? And especially for those who had thick hair, it is normal for your hair to change, especially over the age of 50. And so another cause is hereditary hair loss, a history of hair thinning in your family. Did your mama, your grandmama, your granddaddy, your daddy, did they have hair loss? That could be a cause as well. But I always tell people, if you have a history of hair loss in your family, you can prolong it. It's just things you have to do. It's kind of like if you have a history of like breast cancer, right? Tracing your family.
Right.
If you have a history of any type of illness, like in my case, we had thyroid disease in our family and I didn't know. So had I known early on, there's things that I could have, and I wouldn't have had these problems with trying to have kids. But my niece, she came to me in her 20s and was like, they said I got some thyroid problems and I don't have any money to go to the doctor. And I was like, listen, what I need you to do is, we have a history of thyroid condition in our family. I had a problem with having children because of my thyroid. I need you to go. And I'm glad she did, because she wound up having a little bunka bunka, about 2 years ago. And she wound up getting her levels and stuff checked, whereas I had no one to say that to me. So if you have a history of hair thinning or hair loss in your family, that's a cause. But here's the bonus: emotional stress. And then after this, I'm going to bring you in, Julie. Emotional stress. Emotional stress can cause a sudden abnormal shift of hairs in the telogen phase. Again, what is telogen phase? Telogen effluvium is a type of alopecia that is caused when something traumatic happens in your life, such as the loss of a loved one, divorce, and now I say the pandemic, because people are stressed out, losing their jobs, things are happening. Mm-hmm. This could be normal, but remember, with telogen effluvium, once you get to the root cause of the problem, then your hair will grow back. Another form of telogen effluvium is postpartum alopecia. After some women have a baby, they may lose their hair. Again, this is temporary, and your hair will grow back. So let me kind of get in here, and let me bring Tracy. Stay here. Let me bring Julie in. Let me bring her in. Let me move this banner. Let me bring her in. In the meantime, guys, make sure the whole goal of Nurtress is to make sure we bring conversations around hair. Do y'all know we spend billions of dollars in the Black hair care industry with hair, and we don't have any form or any medium to talk about it? Main Talk, we discuss how hair affects our everyday lives. I don't care if it is the inauguration with Michelle Obama bouncing in with that fluffy hair, right? Or if it was the guys a couple years ago in Philadelphia in the Starbucks and they put them out because their beard and their hair looks scruffy. Hair affects our community. It affects our everyday lives. And the goal of Main Talk is just to talk about some of these issues as it relates to our hair and how these normal everyday issues affect our life. So now I'm going to bring Julie into the screen. Hey, Julie.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. I can. So, Julie,
I just wanted to show you this. I keep a baggie of the hair I lose every week when I do my wash and go and deep condition, and it's about a handful of hair. And I know you said you can lose 80 hairs a day. I guess that's normal, but it's not normal for me. I'm not used to seeing that much hair, and it's been going on for about a year now. I've been to I've been to the dermatologist. I went to my gynecologist. I've had all the testing. The dermatologist said that it's a non-scarring alopecia.
Okay.
He says maybe I was wearing my hair in ponytails or something too tight, and I just wear my hair normally in wash and goes. I've had a crochet once in my life. I've had braids once in my life, and I've worn those ponytails, like where you leave some of it out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And not a lot of protective styles, not a lot of weaves and braids. He said it only takes one time of you doing that. You know.
But you know what? It's, Julie, so let me ask you this question. Have you had a protein treatment?
Yes, I've had protein treatment. I've
Was it
had
professional or was it at home?
I just got the one at Sally Beauty. It's called
Apogee?
Apogee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so how many times did you do that?
I've done it twice.
Okay. And did you
About a
notice
month
any
apart.
less did you notice any less shedding after that?
No. Mm-mm.
So you said that you went to your primary care physician. Okay, so you
Yeah.
said you're 46 years old, right?
46. All my labs came back normal except my magnesium and vitamin D were low.
Okay.
Everything
And
else
so
was
did they
normal. Thyroids were normal. They did extensive panels with hormones and not just the TSH but the extensive thyroid panel.
with the
Everything is
FSH, the follicle stimulating hormone, all of that
yeah.
TSH, FSH. Okay, so then after that, then so let me ask you this question. So after that, you said you did the protein treatment. How often did you? First of all, did you get on some vitamin D?
Yes, I do take vitamin D.
Okay, and you take it like you're supposed to.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, and you did the protein treatment. You say twice
Twice a month apart.
a month apart, and then it was still your hair was still shedding.
Yeah, I still see quite a bit of shedding.
Okay, so show me that bag again. To me, that's not a lot of hair for a month. If you say that's a whole month, if you
No,
were saying,
this is a week. This is a
oh, that's
week.
a week.
I just keep it. Yeah, I started over this week. I keep it in, keep it in a baggie a week at a time and then throw it away. But enough to fill my hand was
Uh-huh.
in there for the month. It could cover my whole hand.
Okay,
So
so
when
oh,
you
oh,
did
go
your
ahead.
panels, what was your testosterone levels? Just asking.
It was around 123, 125, something like that.
So that's within range.
That's
You know what I'm
normal.
saying? I
That was
mean,
within range.
it's not, as they say, it's not optimal, but it's
Optimal.
within range.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
so,
Same thing.
so my question.
Same thing. TSH, and this may help somebody else. Is I was taking biotin and those hair growth vitamins, and one thing the doctor, I was so glad she said, let's do your TSH over because the one doctor had put me on a thyroid medication, levothyroxine, because the TSH was hypothyroid, and the other doctor I went to, the gynecologist, said, let's do it over because I want you to not take the biotin because biotin can be a false positive to your thyroid
Mm-hmm,
levels, and I didn't
mm-hmm,
know that. And
mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm.
she said go 2 weeks without taking the biotin, have your blood redrawn. Then my thyroid numbers came back completely normal. But I would have been on thyroid medication for the rest of my life if she had not pointed that out. That maybe it's the drug, the hair vitamin you're taking that's causing that false
Mm-hmm.
positive.
Now
That
that's
may
new to
help
me. Of
somebody
course,
else.
I've never heard of that. That's new. But Julie, let me ask you
Right.
this because your hair is curly. Have you ever had like steam hydration treatment?
Yeah, I own a home steamer. I do it at home, but I have had it done at the sort of like a diva salon where they cut your hair curly and they do the steam treatment. But it's never been thick. My hair has never been thick. It's always been sort of thin and limp ever since I was young. Because I don't know, it's just that texture.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
have you done when they done it when they did the steam hydration treatment? Because now it's something because I'm looking at your hair. You say it's curly, and that's after a week, and it's abnormal. You said you've done the protein treatment because I'm thinking of everything I would do if you came to the salon. The first thing I would do is put you on the steam hydration treatment. You only could do a protein treatment like once a month. Um, if it was still shedding, I would put you back on a protein treatment again once a month. I mean, that next month, if it was still falling out, then probably I would send you to the doctor, to see what is going on. Because generally, if your hair is falling out, normally your cuticles are lying open or it's something internally really going on.
The only
So let
thing
me
I
ask
can
you this
think of,
last question.
I do work a stressful job, and that's the only thing I can think of is stress. Because I do eat mostly vegetarian. That could be something too. Um, but other than that, I don't know what else it could be.
Well, so
It
that was
doesn't
good. So
appear
we
to
talked
be.
about that protein. So you need that protein. At least if you do mostly vegetarian and you don't want to eat like any chicken, you may want to add a protein shake, right? to kind of add that to
Plant-based.
plant-based?
Right. And
Because we talked about.
I keep track of my nutrients in Chronometer as an app, and I get plenty of protein in the plant foods that I eat too. I do get enough protein because I was concerned about how much protein am I getting and how much do I need, and I'm hitting the targets for the protein just from eating the
And I'm assuming your water intake is good as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So have you been to a dermatologist to talk about this? Yeah. I know we talked about your regular practitioner.
Yeah.
They said it was non-scarring alopecia, right? Non-scarring alopecia. Yes. Well, let me ask you this one last question because I'm at this point I'm stumped. Is there a history of hair loss? Do you have a history of hair loss, hair thinning in your family?
No, my mother has nice thick hair. My father I got his texture, but he died in his early 40s. So I don't know how his hair would have been, but he didn't have like balding or anything when he was alive. And on his side of the family, I don't see a lot of balding in my relatives on his side of the family.
And if you don't mind me asking, you're not on any prescription meds?
No prescription, no birth control, none of that.
Wow. And what do you use? To comb your hair with? Do you use like a vent brush because your hair is curly? So do you use a leave-in to make sure your hair is untangled before you brush it or comb it or something like that?
I don't comb it. I finger detangle it. I use Soultanicals products. I don't know if you've ever heard of Soultanicals, but it's mostly natural. Yeah, very good for detangling, very good for moisture, good top ingredients. I don't like to use silicones and phthalates and parabens and any of that stuff in my hair. So I stick to that brand, Soultanicals. Yeah.
I don't have my doctors on here, but I'm stumped. To be honest, I'm stumped. I just wanted to ask you the questions and you asked everything, but something is going on. Somebody's missing something. Somebody's missing something somewhere, and I really don't believe it's a dermatological issue. I really believe that there is something else. The biggest thing that you said could be stress.
I've had an extensive nutrition panel where they take your blood, and it's not something you get just in the regular labs. They send it off and they test your N-acetylcholine, your cysteine. They test each individual protein, and the doctor was actually impressed. She's like, it looks like you're doing well with your nutrition, because I pay attention to that, but they couldn't find anything crazy abnormal. I've had food allergen profiles where they test and see what foods am I allergic to, things, like that, gut health, all that. I've had all those Progressive Medical Center. I've done all those testing.
So Julie, I'm gonna go back and end and say this. I know you like the Soultanicals product. I would at the end I would kind of change because something is happening. Something you're allergic is something you're getting a reaction to. If all your blood levels are fine, if all your vitamin D, if all of that is fine, now we have to start going through something topical. I know they are all natural and they're pure and they're this, but you may have a reaction to something that's in it that you don't even know. Right? So I would probably try to change product to something else because although it's all natural, just because something is all natural doesn't mean that you still may not have a reaction to it. So I would at least try to maybe switch. Let's try that for the next 30 to 60 days. Find another product that you need to switch to because it could be something there.
That's not a problem. I'm a bit of a product junkie and I have other products that I can use. They're just not open, like Curls and Potions, Shea Moisture, Main Choice, all those. I have all those. I'm a little bit of a product junkie. I call myself trying to slow down when I found Soultanicals, but I have plenty of other stuff I can try. I have a whole shelf of hair products.
Okay, so what you need to do is switch, but whatever you switch to, because I will put you on Nuratress, but I'm not going to use this as a sales moment. I'm going to use this as a moment. I'm going to use this as a moment to say, right, because I'm going to use this as a moment to say, whatever you do, don't mix and match. If you're going to use, whatever you're going to use, you need to use everything in that line. We call it in manufacturing, we call it synergistic.
I have the shampoo, the deep conditioners, the leave-ins, the twisting creams for a couple of lines, so I could do that.
Yeah, so let's switch to another line, and then make sure you report back, because we're gonna have a doctor on here to talk about this. But make sure you report back. But let's switch. Let's switch from this, and then let's see. And then I will tell you to go ahead and do another protein treatment. You need to do that. Another protein treatment. I wouldn't say Alpha-G. I would say Nutritress Stop Shedding Protein Conditioner.
Right,
But
because I've used that before, and it's
yeah,
You
really
think I should do the steam treatment with the protein in my hair, like in the steamer? Like get under
no.
the
So
steamer while
what you should do is it's two part. You would do the stop. You would do. I'm gonna say stop shedding. I'm gonna name my brand. You would do the stop shedding first. That actually hardens the hair and
yeah,
seals the cuticle to keep the hair from coming out. The hair is gonna be so hard. You know, like Alpha-G, you
Yes, I
can't
got
comb
you.
through it. And then once you get finished with that, you only thing you can do is rinse that out and then go under a steamer with a moisturizing conditioning mask
Yes, I
to
can see
soften
it.
it.
Okay.
Let's do that and let's see the results we get. But then I do want you to switch out of what you're using to another line until, because it could be sometimes, our skin is so sensitive, it could be anything that's in there. It could be something like we had a guy came to our salon and Tracy got an oxygen scalp treatment and he was allergic to nettle. And nettles
Oh
is
wow.
a very good natural product.
Yeah.
So it could be
Yeah.
something so little that's in the product that you're using that you're getting the reaction to and you don't even know.
I can do that. That sounds like a good idea.
All right. And then send us a DM and then we may have to pull you on back.
yes,
Okay.
I would love to follow up.
And thank you,
Awesome.
Julie. Thank you. I know that was good conversation because
That
you
was
have
great.
that, I actually have people who come to um the salon and we have the same thing. They come to the salon and we're doing a consultation, right? Carolyn, I see Carolina Banks is on here, who is one of our hair loss specialists. You come in and you ask all these questions and you don't know. And when someone says, like Julie, I've been to the doctor, I've been doing this, I've been doing this. So then once we have identified what's going on internal and everything
Right.
is fine, and she said no birth control, no nothing, then we have to go and look at what ingredients. So now we're back at the ingredient level.
Right.
Although this
The topical aspect of it, right? So you have to think about. So Deshaun, let me ask you this, and I've heard this, in some of the groups and stuff when you watch on Facebook. Can people use a protein like a product too much that causes the hair to snap or shed?
it can, especially, and protein is one of those. You can only use protein, and there's different types of proteins. So even with that, Julie, there's different type of proteins. We have in ours, we have hydrolyzed collagen protein. You have animal protein, which has now kind of been deemed like not good, like one of the safe products.
Mhm.
But even something that's safe and that's natural, again, if like the guy who came to our clinic who was allergic to nettles, we were just like, nettles. It could be anything. So we have to move from there. The whole goal is especially this, and let me say this as we move on. People are still commenting. Let's even talking about itching. Beyonce had the song, pat that weed, pat, pat, pat. If you are itching and your hair is itching like uncontrollable, that is a sign that you are allergic to something, because itching is a sign of that you are allergic to something. So even if you use the canacolon fiber hair, some people are allergic to that. And then it can cause the hair to itch. A synthetic wig or a human hair wig, the material, some people are allergic to that. But if you are wearing some type of hair in your head and your hair starts thinning and is itching, just know that is or can be an allergic reaction. So now let me go through these right quick. Let me start with Michelle. Michelle says, Deshaun, is it typically better to use all the products in the same line as opposed to mixing and matching, even if you aren't experiencing hair loss? Yes, Michelle, and I remember you from high school. I still see you now with all that hair. Yes, it is better to use the same product in the same line, especially now that we're 50. It's just best to do that, Michelle. It's best to make sure that we stay synergistic, because the way one company made their shampoo with certain ingredients, they designed it so that the conditioner that came behind it complemented the shampoo. If you use something else, sometimes you can get flakes, sometimes you can get this. It just depends. So even if you're not experiencing hair loss, the technical term is called synergistic. Let's stay with the same line. Find the line that you like. I hope it's Nutritress for everybody, but find the same line that you like. use that brand and use it all the way through. Julie said that she did a scalp detox
yesterday.
Today. Okay, let me see. Carolina Banks was asking a question. Carolina, she said, could it be menopause? No, she already said that. Let's see. Cheryl said, she said she had a stressful job. I'm wondering about the blood flow to the scalp. Correct. Stress is definitely, but that's the reason why in our vitamins we have an ingredient called choline, which is counteracts the effects of stress. So again, stress could cause that. Let me go up. Hey, Sarah. She said, hey, Sarah. Jill is in there saying hello. And my God, I experienced the same thing with vitamin D. These comments are rolling through here. So here's Jocelyn. She said she is telling my story that amount is the same for me.
Daily. No, she says daily.
Jocelyn, if it is daily, you have to go to the doctor and find out, like Tracy was saying, to get your hormone panel. Remember, we are now in our 40s, moving into our 50s. If you are perimenopause, which means your body is preparing for menopause, when we start losing hair like that every day, Jocelyn, you definitely need to go to the doctor and get a panel done. Definitely. Michelle said, is there help for female pattern baldness? Yes, it is. But again, the whole purpose of this broadcast was to bring awareness that it's normal for your hair to start changing really after the age of 40, but really after 50, I think is when we really start paying attention to what was going on in our 40s. Right. And then we're in a mad dash to try to put this fire out. And we need to start going to our salon professionals. We need to start having these conversations with our doctors, as Tracy said, our primary care physician, OBGYN, and even a dermatologist if need be after all of that. All of these things work together. Again, the whole goal is stop trying to treat it at home yourself, because treating it at home yourself doesn't always help. Edna said, I need to see the hair coach. Y'all know where to find me. Miss Aretha said, thank God I'm good. And she's 73. Right. But Miss Aretha, we know you've been using Nurtress for a long time, so I'm going to have to throw that in there. Boom. Can a pre-workout supplement thin your hair? Most supplements don't thin your hair, Tiffany. You really
normally in your pre-workout supplements, they're normally have a high concentration of caffeine, right? Because it's to boom, right, for you to get your workout. So it just depends on what's in it. Some pre-workout supplements have a lot of stuff in it, including a lot of caffeine. So it just depends on, some people don't do well with pre-workout and post-workout supplements. They just don't. So you just kind of have to see how you react, to some of those supplements.
Okay. And Tanita said, what about bioidentical hormones? BioT. I'm gonna let Tracy jump in. I see her mouth fixed to say something about it, but really, that's why I want to have a doctor on to really kind of talk about these different things like that. I'm gonna say I'm not an expert, Tanita, about bioidentical hormones. I would say that if it is affecting your hormone, then yes, it is. It's all about whether it's normal or abnormal. And the whole goal with hormones is trying to get you back to your optimum place. And so if you're not at your optimal place, I wouldn't say that it's the bioidentical hormones. It's just where are you at trying to get everything lined up, because it can't happen. But what I do know is that putting these weaves and wigs in while y'all going through all of this, what I do know is it's causing more harm than good if you're constantly doing it. Again, wear it, take it out, get your hair treated. If you wear it for 3 months, take it out, wear your own hair for 3 months, and then put it back in. That's the biggest takeaway I want you guys to have. Edna says mine is very thin, bald at the top. Darlene said her edges, but Darlene, you got the locks. So locks could be very heavy. When those locks start growing, they start getting really hit and they start pulling. So we know that can happen as it relates to hair loss. Okay, y'all. Well, Tracy, this is supposed to be a 30-minute show. And we have gone for a whole hour. A whole hour. But we are going to have this topic again. And this time we're going to bring some doctors on to have the conversation. Tracy, thank you for coming in, being my sidekick on tonight. But no, I really enjoyed the conversation that we were having today. And I really wanted just real people to come in tonight to have a conversation. I'm usually teaching hairstylists on what to look for. And so again, I would tell each one of you guys as we end now our show is that when you are first diagnosed with any type of hair loss, hair thinning, and you see it, you first need to put it in a category. Is it due to hormones? Is it due to me wearing weave? Is it due to me, the medications I'm taking? Is it my diet? Am I stressed? You definitely need to categorize it. And then from there, the reason why I wanted to provide those top 5 reasons. And then from there, start having the conversations like Tracy said with your doctor, just to kind of get to the solution. But remember, you guys should see a salon professional because some of these things can be resolved in the salon with just a basic protein treatment or if your hair is dry, as we talked about earlier about another Sarah of us, we're not going to say her name,
right?
Her hair was really, really dry. I mean, she came in to see me and her hair felt like a freaking Brillo pad, and so if your hair is that dry, guys, you guys need to do not just regular conditioners. It's the way you apply the conditioners to your natural hair, which can be a problem. You can't just put conditioner in your hair like that. You need to apply it almost like you're applying a relaxer. You may need to do a hair mask. It's so much that goes into it, but we're at the end of our road. But Tracy, thank you for having this conversation with me on tonight, getting off the road. How was your mama? How's she doing?
Mom is doing fabulous. My mom will be 79 in May, and she acts like a 39-year-old.
But I know your mama. I know your mama's a Chicago girl, and we already know how that goes. We already know.
Oh my goodness! Look, all the way live.
all the way live. Well, thank you for joining me, Tracy.
You're welcome.
Sarah, thank you very much. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for another edition of Main Talk. Until next week, keep that hair healthy. And if you have any questions, make sure you send us a DM. But make sure y'all follow us. See that streaming at the bottom? Make sure you follow us on Main Talk on Air. Share this video. Like us on Instagram because we got more Main Talk for you every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Y'all have a good week. Main Talk. Let's talk about hair. It's not your average conversation. It's not your average conversation about hair. You don't know like I know how to cut it, clip it, snip it, flip it, whip it, twist it, curl it, twirl it. Whip it, girl, whip it hard when you show it out. Hair, blow it, grow it, wrap it, snap it, weave it, lock it, braid it. Girl, you can wave it, shade it, just make sure that you save it.